This is the most frequent question I was asked, that why I'm able to understand English when you are speaking, and when I watch other videos on YouTube I can completely understand, but when it comes to actually speaking and expressing my ideas and my thoughts, I literally get stuck. I cannot speak in English at all, and I feel that all the vocabulary and all the words which I have memorized fade away at the moment. If you're someone who can relate yourself with this scenario, then this video is going to be perfect for you, because in the beginning I am going to talk about why you struggle with this problem and why you can understand English but are struggling to speak, and at the end of the video I will share some tips which can help you to overcome this problem, and then you can easily speak English fluently without getting stuck. Hi everyone, my name is Samya and I am someone who has learned English just by myself. I'm someone who has never studied in English medium, and I have been graduating in Hindi medium as well. So basically, I have learned English as a complete foreign language which I had never heard about. Well, I'm not going to say that I am perfect in English and I speak flawless English at all, because that's not true. But all I'm trying to say here is that I can express my ideas, express my thoughts, and explain what I'm feeling without struggling, without hesitating, and without translating everything in my mind in my mother tongue. So this is all about my introduction. Now let's talk about why you can understand English but cannot speak fluently. I'm sure many of you even may have studied in English medium school, but still you are not able to speak English fluently. And it's not your fault at all, because our education system and our schools have never taught us to focus on learning something actively. So basically, when we learn anything, be it any language or any other skill, there are two essential parts of that skill: active and passive. For example, you want to learn how to drive a car, and for that purpose you are watching videos on YouTube that how to actually drive a car, or you are looking at someone driving the car. So basically you are focusing on the passive skill, which is also called input, which you are doing just by consuming. Whereas when you really want to learn how to drive the car, then you would practically go and actually drive the car instead of just watching videos that how to drive a car. And when you are doing it, when you are practically doing something, it means you are focusing on the active skill. It means you are focusing on the output. You cannot drive a car just by reading theory or watching videos that how to actually drive a car. If you truly want to learn it, you will actually have to take action. You will have to do it practically and try to drive a car, even though if you make mistakes. So the same rule applies when it comes to language learning. You are not able to speak fluently because you are not focusing on the output. You are only watching videos on how to speak English fluently instead of actually practicing to speak. Because if you are not practicing to speak, then how could you expect yourself to speak English fluently? I'm sorry to say, but it is happening to you because probably you are not practicing enough. I'm not telling you that you are not speaking at all, but in order to speak naturally, you have to reach to the certain point where you can speak without translating. So for example, let me give you example which can help you to understand this very easily. For example, you are a complete beginner at this level, and this is the point where you can speak everything naturally. So right now you are either here or here or here, but you have not reached to this point. And once you reach to this point, you can easily understand and you can easily speak without thinking much and without translating. But in order to reach to this point, you first have to actually practice as much as you can. And when you practice a lot, you can easily become better at it without thinking and without worrying about it. So instead of watching videos that how to actually speak fluently, please take actions and try to speak as much as you can, even though if you are making multiple mistakes. So I would say that you have not reached to the point where you can speak naturally. And in order to speak naturally, you have to train your tongue. So probably you have not trained your tongue enough to speak naturally and speak whenever you actually need it. Apart from that, have you ever wondered why kids learn anything faster? Because they are not afraid of any kind of judgment which they receive from people. They are not afraid that people are going to judge me and they are going to make fun of me, or if I make mistakes, then people are going to remember that incident and always make fun of me and make me realize that I'm not capable of doing something. But as we grow up, we become extremely self-centered and we think that everybody is going to point out our mistakes if I do such things. Everybody is going to make me feel that you have done something wrong. Well, I'm not going to say that it does not really happen, because it does happen. I mean, I've seen a lot of people struggling with this kind of situation, and they have seen such people who make fun of their English. But how long are they going to remember that incident? What do you think about it? I mean, it's only you who is thinking and recalling that incident that, oh, I have made a mistake, I have done something wrong. Because people are not going to remember any incident for such longer period of time. If you have been following me for a while, I'm sure you would have noticed that in the beginning, I used to make a lot of mistakes. And I also used to get a lot of judgment. I also used to get a lot of hate comments by people that, hey, you make a lot of mistakes, so first correct your mistakes and then start making videos and all. But did it really bother me? Did it really affect me? Not at all, because in my opinion, if I'm making mistakes, then I am learning. So now let's talk about how can you solve this problem and how can you overcome this problem and speak English fluently and naturally. So the first thing you have to do is to shift your focus from putting only input to output as well. Well, I'm not telling you to completely cut off yourself from passive skill, which is called listening and reading, but by saying this, I mean you have to focus on active skill as well. You have to focus on putting output as well, which is speaking and writing. And if you want to speak English fluently in a shorter period of time, then you must do it. Because when you are reading, watching and listening something in English, people are thinking for you. You are just reading. You do not need to think at all. You are just grasping what you have heard and what you have read. But when you are actually speaking and when you are writing something, you are thinking. You are forcing your brain to think in English, and then you are forcing your tongue to speak. And when you do it over and over again, you automatically and naturally become better at speaking English. Well, there are multiple ways through which you can train your brain to think in English and train your tongue to speak in English naturally. So first of all, you have to start with very simple steps, because since you have not spoken much, since you are not comfortable with speaking, so try with very basic. Try to watch any videos in English and explain it in your own words. First of all, you just have to focus on only watching. If you could not understand what was the motive behind the video, then try to watch it twice or thrice. And once you are done with watching, once you feel that you have understood at least some of the points, then try to elaborate it in your own words. You don't need to worry about I have to use the same vocabulary which was mentioned in the video. You don't need to worry about I have to use the same sentences which was used in the video. You don't need to focus and pressurize yourself in this way, but try to focus on speaking in your own words. This is one of the steps I would highly recommend you. Another steps you can try, and that is read out loud. First of all, you have to pick any chapter or any topic, read out loud at least twice or thrice if you could not understand at once. And then again try to summarize it in your own words that what exactly you have understood. I mean, this is the step I still follow. I still read out loud and then elaborate the topic in my own words, and it helps me to become a better storyteller. It also helps me to become better and natural at speaking whenever I have to speak. But don't think twice and do not worry about that I'm repeating same vocabulary. I do not have enough vocabulary, because once you become comfortable with speaking, gradually try to enhance your vocabulary, and don't focus on using the same vocabulary which was used in the chapter or which was used in the video. It's not the point, because as long as you are expressing your ideas, expressing your thoughts in your own words, that is the only thing matters here. Once you become comfortable with these two steps, it's time for you to move to the next step, which is a bit advanced level, and it requires a bit more efforts. So what you're supposed to do, just sit anywhere calmly and observe things around you. You don't have to sit to any specific place to observe things. You can sit at your home, you can sit in the park, or wherever you get place. Just sit there and observe things and speak something in your own words. Like you can observe things around you and say, okay, there are kids playing in the ground. There are couples walking on the road. There's a beautiful bird sitting in front of me. I mean, you can explain every single thing. Or you can also talk about the weather, that right now weather is a bit pleasant and I'm really enjoying the weather. But in the afternoon, weather was a bit warmer and I was not able to come outside. So these are the things you can talk about. It's pretty easier. I mean, in the beginning, you might struggle a bit because of it, but once you do it over and over again, you are automatically and naturally going to be comfortable with it. And in this way, you are going to improve your English very quickly and become comfortable and natural whenever you have to speak in English. So these are the steps I follow to improve my English and become a natural English speaker. So I hope these steps are going to help you too to speak English easily and without struggling much. So please focus on output than input. I know input is important, but at the same time output is extremely important, because you have to speak and you have to write so that you can come up with new ideas in your brain and you can come up with new sentences and you can speak them whenever you need. And at the end of the video, I would like to tell you only one thing, that please don't be in rush. Allow some time to yourself. Allow at least a month so that you can see progress which you have made. Do not expect to get result in just a week or so, because it is not going to happen in just a week. So this is all for today's video. I hope you liked it and get some valuable knowledge and learned something from this video. So please hit the like button and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.